Well, hello. I'm here again to show you how I modify my Biesemeyer fence to be a little bit lighter. Uh, I didn't change anything from the factory by any means, so it's always a way to put it back together. But the reason I modified and I thought about it is it was kind of heavy to move it left and right to left and whatever, slide it around. And there's a high density plastic sliders that had supports the weight. I figured that could be improved and not to have too much drag. It already has enough drag on the pad that keeps it in line at 90 degrees to the table and the lock pad. So I figure it can be use some improvement on the sliders that holds the weight of the. So I started with a piece of standard stock flat iron, and I went from there. I don't know if you can see the line there, more or less. You can see the marks that I made to cut for the bearing. And I had to now totally get rid of this part. So to make it easier, I just bend it down a little bit, and then now we started to roll it. But make sure that you don't roll it all the way where the cut stops. You have to roll it just a little bit ahead as to allow the bearing to fit in there. The reason I cut it before I roll it is because it makes it easier to roll it. And I'm going to put the bolt that is exact diameter of the bearing inner, the inner side of the bearing, or the shaft part of the bearing. And I'm going to start closing. I'm going to start closing. And I had to mount this vise in a better place, but I don't want to use my bench to mount it on. So I have a limited space out here, and I don't want to use my bench to mount it. Maybe I should mount it the board and then clamp it to the bench every time I need it. Okay, now you see the bracket is already made. Now I had to put it on the on the on the fence and mark the holes, drill it and tap them. What I will do now is to remove the slider that is press fit into the press fit hand that is press fit into those two holes, and mark the two holes where I wanted to drill it and tap it and then install it. Okay, I positioned the bracket where I want it on the fence, on the teeth part of the fence. Now I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to get the drill and mark the holes. Alright, now that they're marked, you can see how the holes are marked over there, 1 and 2. So now we go to the drill press, drill them. Okay, I installed the bearing and the little shaft, as you can see. I'm going to tighten this. For that purpose, I'm going to tighten this a little bit. So it won't come back out. and it won't come back up. It's set. Now we have to do is screw the thing in here. For one of the little screws. And start it out there. And get the other screw. Just remember, we don't drill anything, we don't modify this in any way. We're just adding this here. I didn't want to have to modify this in any way until I know it's going to work properly. Remember, I don't want it to stick out at the bottom because I don't want it to rub on the table. The bearing barely comes out a little bit, just the same height of the pad. So in that regard, I want it to be exactly the same. See the bearings, you can see the screws that doesn't come out. See if I can get it a little bit closer. See this height out here, the height of the bearing and everything else is about the same as it was with the high density pads. So that way it's barely coming up, and that way I don't modify anything in the functioning of the T-square. Okay, here is the already installed roller bearings that I adapted to my Biesemeyer fence system. It really made a difference in the way you move the fence. It's much easier, it's a lot less drag, and I really like it myself. So you can check it out and try it. It's not that difficult. It's maybe a couple of dollars to make them, but really made a difference to me. It works really good. There's very little friction from the internal slides, but that's good enough. You don't need to be so crazy loose that it's hard to set. But this is just perfect. Just perfect. And even when you tap it, you know, it moves a lot easier both ways. I'm really happy with those roller bearings. I'm really happy with those, installing those roller bearings. And I didn't have to, the best part is that I didn't have to modify anything on the fence. I can go back and put the sliders, you know, the high density sliders anytime I feel like it. So this is going to be a great improvement over the original design. I don't know why they didn't do it on the factory. That would have cost them another $20 to do it, but it didn't cost me that much to make it myself. Maybe some labor that I put in, that's all. Okay guys, I hope you like it and you try it, because this is a great improvement over the fence.